Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Good afternoon. I am Robert Press, your host. Today is December 24th, Christmas Eve, and we want to wish Christmas greetings to all of you out there. My co-host probably will say that as they are introduced a little later, but first, I have to say something about last week's show. I received a couple of calls about last week's show that I disturbed certain people in what I said and showed. But you know what? This is freedom of the press, okay? Here is my press card so everybody knows that I'm a legitimate reporter. Stop laughing, Anthony. But it is freedom of the press, and I can ask the mayor, the governor, the president, anything I want, and we're going to show you, the people, what you need to know, all right? And I know I'm copying that from a certain soon-to-be former councilman who is from the South Bronx, but we want you to know what you should know. And let me introduce my co-host, Anthony Rivieccio. Please introduce yourself.
Wow, I don't know how to top that, but I'll try.
How to follow it? Let me follow it. How you top that?
Let me start off by introducing myself. My name is Professor Anthony Rivieccio. Since we're talking about props and verification, I am a professor in various institutions here in New York City. More importantly, I am the founder of a financial securities firm called the Financial Advisors Group, as well as teaching in business and finance in the brand new expanded School of Herbert H. Lehman College. The business department has now been expanded into a school as opposed to a department, as well as being a wonderful founder of a local organization called Northwest Bronx Democrats, which you can find on Facebook.
And let me introduce my other co-host, Mr. Dion Powell. I'm sure you're going to show your, district leader? No, wait a minute, no. What are you, Dion? So why don't you introduce yourself and let the people know?
Well, the people finally made Robert Press depress. So excuse me while I whip this out. Boom, everybody.
What are you whipping out, Dion?
This bad boy here. I'm whipping this out right here. The honorable, undeniable. County Committeeman, 32nd ED of the 79th Assembly District. Okay, Dion, honorable. Okay, merchandise.
Go get him, Dion.
So Dion,
let
me ask you a question, Dion. Then, are you the reason that I got one of these calls from the county leader's office? I don't hear anything, Dion. Are you a spy for the county leader?
Ask me a question about somebody else's actions. I didn't call them to call you.
But did you tell anybody information or tell them to watch a show that certain things were going to happen on the show? Well, obviously, we see that Dion doesn't want to answer, so let's go to our show. Let's go to our regular column.
Wait a minute, Mr. Press, Mr. Host. So you started off the disclaimer by saying you got some phone calls, but you just ended it by saying you got a phone call from the county office. Who called you?
I am not at liberty to disclose my sources, Mr. Rivieccio. That is a reporter's prerogative. Okay? I don't want to tell my source.
But you just said in your disclosure that this show was about letting out all the facts.
Right. Exactly. And there are certain facts that don't get disclosed, like a reporter's source. Would you want my source to be burned?
Well,
I'm sure Dion, my source
doesn't want to be. You might as well.
Well, Anthony, I'm sure my source, Dion, whoever it is, doesn't want to get kicked out of the county office whenever they go there. All right. I will tell you that it was someone who is at least a county committee member. Okay. But let's move on to our topic of Bidenomics, Anthony, which is one of your favorites.
I don't think Dion would have done anything unless he got an envelope first.
Well, I think we need to go into national politics right now. We can get back to this at the end of the show if we have time, Anthony. No need to waste time right now.
Okay.
Let's go and have your weekly report on what's happening with the economy.
Oh, my God. I don't know if it's going to turn into a weekly report, but I will share some numbers with you that I think are very troubling. Of course, with this being the end of the year, let me also take a moment to wish our audience a very happy and safe holiday. But looking at some of the economic numbers, I'm going to share them with you and reserve comment. And I'd like to hear comments from my co-hosts in regards to these numbers. Some of the numbers I'm about ready to share with you are year over year going into the beginning of this year. So when you look at things such as consumer income or paychecks have gone up year over year about 5%. Consumer spending has gone up 6%. Government spending has gone up 7%. Investment spending has declined 2%. GDP, gross domestic product, has gone up 3%. Very important note. In the last year, we as citizens has received economic stimulus packages, different variations. According to the Congressional Budget Office, that has outlaid for 20% of government spending outside of their normal spending pattern. So right now, government spending in accordance to GDP is right now at 35%. Can somebody interpret all of those numbers for me?
Dion, you want to go first?
Actually, I'm going to go to the vice president, so I'm going to toss it back to you.
Fine. I'll interpret some of those numbers. If I recall, Anthony, people said, or I should say, elected officials said, we need to bring up the income of our lower income people to $15 an hour. What we see is, by those numbers, that the increase in their wages has been less than the amount of inflation that's going on. So they're actually losing money because they got an increase in the wage. Am I right on that, Anthony?
Some people would say that.
All right, because when you go into McDonald's and you say, give me a Big Mac, what is it now, $6, Dion? Dion, you eat a lot of Big Macs. How much do they cost? No answer?
I haven't eaten a Big Mac in quite some time, my friend.
You're right, but you eat a lot of pizza, right? How much has the pizza gone up? Pizza used to be $2 a slice, then it went to $3. What is it now for your favorite slice?
I actually went to Emilio's here on Morris Park, and I said, "Hey, that short guy with the glasses, Robert Press? What's the beef? He wants to know why your slices are $7.50." They said, "Well, sir, that little boy."
Dion, let's not get personal, Dion. Dion, just because I exposed you as the
they told me, you exposed yourself in that bathroom. That's why you can't go back.
Dan, I leaked you. All right, let's get back to business, though. All right, Anthony, any more comments on Biden, how the economy's doing?
You know what? I'm going to give you my two quick interpretations on all of those numbers. I was trying to be objective. Those are factual numbers. My own interpretation, two things. Number one, I think we do have growth in our economy. However, that growth is predicated more on economic stimulus. There really hasn't been any steady amount of monies coming in outside of government stimulus. Number two, looking at these numbers being very unsteady going forward, I just had a meeting with some of our investors where we agreed we're going to change our portfolio very dramatically before the end of the year. I would suggest anyone that has a 401k or an outside investment account sit down with their financial advisor, talk about how the economy's been going year over year, what your impressions might be for the year ahead, and subsequently look at making changes. The two things we know for sure going into next year is, number one, there is no Build Back Better program. And number two, interest rates are at a very sensitive point. Even though they're low right now, the Federal Reserve Board has made every indication that based on inflation, they can go up very quickly. And of course, when interest rates go up, the general markets normally don't do so good.
Well, Anthony, I took my year-end deduction out of my, what can I say, my Vanguard account,
your ledger.
and that's going into the bank, waiting for interest rates to go up. Because I remember 14% interest rates. We spoke about this before on past shows. I don't think it'll be 14%, but how high do you think interest rates will go, Anthony?
If we follow the Federal Reserve's projection, and remember in their projection, they just said 5 times in 2 to 3 years. They didn't mention what the percentage of it would be. My very big guess is that I have, and I don't even think the Federal Reserve has seen any major push of total economic stimulus. So you'll probably see them go no higher than a quarter point every time it does go up. So again, presuming that the Federal Reserve follows their mandate, you're looking at a total amount of 1.2%, 1.3% going up over the course of the last 2 years. I hope you're planning on spending that money quickly, because if you have it in the bank, right now you're getting 0.1%. So 2 years from now, you'll be making 1.5%.
No, it's going to be spent very quickly coming in the new year. Now, Dion, since you are a very, let's see, how can I say the word? Very viable consultant, you must have a lot of money from this past campaigns. Where are you putting your money?
I'm putting my money in my bank.
I was waiting for you to say under your mattress.
Nah, I have a water bed like you. Anyway, let's talk about Build Back America. Vice President Kamala Harris with Charlemagne the God. Let's see how cool you two cool kids is. Do you guys know what happened? Or did you hear on your little newspaper ticker?
I didn't hear you, Dion. What'd you say?
Vice President Harris blew up at Charlemagne the God because he questioned her who was in charge of America, Joe Biden or Joe Manchin. You didn't hear the media news?
No. I know Joe Manchin told them that he's the one Democrat that will not vote for this Build Back.
Yeah. So did your friend Fat Joe tell you what happened on the radio station?
Nope. But so Dion,
Miss Kamala made it a point on that show, which I know what you're referring to, Dion.
Thank you. He's out of touch.
Make sure that she was emphatic in saying Joe Biden is the president of the United States, and she is, of course, oh God, I want to say this appropriately. And she is there to assist in any way she can as the vice president.
Dion, I'm going to tell you this. If we went into Truman High School right now, into a high school class, and said, who is the vice president? I doubt if more than 5 of the children would know. Or the
it's students. A high school. They're not children. They're teenagers.
Students. And if we asked who the governor of New York State was, we'd probably get Andrew Cuomo as our answer. That's how much people know who these people are. All right? Because Kamala Harris has been almost invisible. Nobody really knows what she is and who she is and what she's done. As far as Kathy Hochul, all she's doing is trying to spend money to get reelected. She's giving out this Build Back money or whatever money she got from the federal government, trying to act as if it was her money, that it came from the state, and she's giving it to the people. Any comments, Anthony, Dion?
Well, the money you're referring to is not the Build Back Better. It is from the CARES program. And a lot of governors now are doing it with the permission of the federal government. The federal government has said, hey, if you've got this extra money, feel free to use it on other, related resources. So, yes, Governor Hochul is using the money very liberally, as most governors are.
Dion?
Well, she should use that money towards education, because more and more parents are furious at her with these mandates of the vaccine and all this COVID money's involved. So she needs to do a real big damage control, because a lot of parents in these private schools, Catholic schools, parochial schools, boarding schools are pissed off at her. and this will reflect very negatively on her performance in November. I can't say it enough.
Dion, you hit on the next subject, the virus. We have the Omicron virus where Mayor de Blasio is acting like Chicken Little, that the sky is falling. Everybody should be vaccinated and everybody should get their booster shot. Now, I'm not picking on you, Anthony, but I understand you said you were at the Salamanca event last week. How was it?
It was wonderful.
And how many people were there?
Well, I attended late because I had other events prior. When I got there, it was sort of like a roving type of audience. I would say, personally speaking, I might have seen 100 to 150. I got backdoor reports. There could have been 250 there. Again, I got there late, so if you're looking for me to confirm total attendance, that I can't do. I can tell you my reports indicate somewhere between 200 to 250 people were there. Total.
And Borough President Diaz were there, and his father, Councilman Diaz, if I'm not mistaken, correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, Dion, did you attend the event?
Can't say that I have.
Was that because you were unvaccinated? Because they said only vaccinated people, and we'll check you at the door.
Well,
so, Anthony, how do you explain attending the event when you claim you're not vaccinated?
He's got you.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't, because like with other events, an example being the upcoming Karina Sanchez inauguration event, all you have to do is follow what is called protocol COVID procedure. So I'll let you give your best friend, Mr. Salamanca, a call to find out what those COVID procedures are. You will find out. Obviously, I passed them.
Well, Anthony, I didn't attend the event because I figured that certain unvaccinated people would be attending, and I don't think you were the only one because, quote unquote, the side door lets people in to the event without going through Maestro's front door. All right, so that's why. And I would have to guess, well, we know that Oswald Dennis got COVID the day after he attended the event. I know he didn't get it from you because you didn't catch it. But, I mean, what kind of elected officials do we have who are letting in unvaccinated people to their indoor events? Karina Sanchez, I hope, will have an outdoor event.
I'm glad you brought that up because now I can talk about what the elected officials have done. They've just passed to make it a felony for creating the fake 1970s Vax ID card. So why aren't you talking about that, Jack?
Well, coming into that, Dion, you have a fake vaccination card?
No, I have Jesus.
You know, can we get into the bigger story than that? Okay, which is how come neither one of you, but more particular you, Mr. Press, who keep saying you're immune, but then you take a shot, and then by a side reaction, you write a whole story about you having COVID that goes all over the Bronx. How come we're not talking about a Columbia study report a week ago that has shown that the vaccine doesn't work?
I'm not going to doubt you on that, Anthony.
But you're not reporting any of that.
And we're coming into something that I will
you're going to give us the Columbia University report, or are you going to give us a report of how you took your shot from a $5 nurse that was working at Jacoby Hospital pretending to be a $50 nurse?
I don't know if she was a nurse, Anthony. Here's my vaccination card, both shots, and you'll see Jacoby Hospital on the back. I went there thinking I was going to get it from a nurse, but it was an outside contractor hired by the state.
I got a card too. I took 2 shots of vaccinated coffee. Go ahead.
I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. It's not a nurse, but a contractor. This makes more or less sense. I'm gonna give you the news from the ground.
No, Dion. Dion. What he just said was very important news. Bob Press just said he got vaccinated by a $5 nurse, and he believes he's cured.
$15 an hour, Tony.
You got vaccinated by a McDonald's worker, and you think you're vaccinated.
for a $2 cure. Anyway,
I don't, Anthony, because I went back there and said, I went to a full room of people and said, what was in that
So you
shot
don't think you're vaccinated,
poison?
Bob? Bob, so then you don't think you're vaccinated? I got a question for you. You're a roving reporter. You got to cover events and activities. How many events and activities have you been to in the last 2 weeks that now you're telling me you're not vaccinated?
I, like everyone else who got the shots, the 2 shots, have attended this.
But you just said you don't believe you're vaccinated.
I never said that, Anthony. I said I got my 2 shots.
You got your shots from the $5 nurse. Go ahead.
Dr. Chachi and Dr. Katz both said I was immune, and Dr. Katz even told me I don't need the vaccine.
So then why did you take the shot if you thought you were immune?
What it is, Tony, is every day the city doctors and the federal government, Dr. Fauci, they don't know what they're doing. And you said this.
So then you know what you're doing and they don't know what they're doing.
Tony, I had to get the shots if I wanted to continue what I was doing. It was
so then it's okay for somebody to go to 42nd Street and get a shot from a $5 nurse because you did, and now you're entitled to go to events and activities.
That's the mandate by the mayor and the governor.
He's a non-essential worker. He's a non-essential worker. Let's talk about all these COVID testing sites. Let's talk about all these COVID testing sites that have lines around the corner. You be hearing mom and pop pharmacies and clinics and contracting sites around the corner to get tested. If everybody boosted up for 5 times a booster, why are these lines so long? On top of that, from the ground, on the streets, where Dion is to hear what's going on, people are still waiting for their test results. And even if you have to do it yourself, test results have been take 4 to 5 days. I'm still waiting for my test results.
This is what Mayor de Blasio and Governor Hochul have done. Before we get into Eric Adams, which our producer is showing on the screen, I want to talk about the coronavirus. How many cases of coronavirus are out there exactly today? On December 18th, Governor Hochul reported there were 192 cases of Omicron statewide and 41 cases in New York City. Since then, we have no more numbers of any amount of Omicron cases. It could be 0.
Robert, we spoke about this. Robert, we spoke about this morning. New York State has reported 35,000 New York State cases. If we go by your own doctor, if we go by your own New York State doctor, Mr. Chachi, that you believe in so much, even he says the Omicron accessibility rate is 6.8 times higher than regular COVID. So if it's 6.8 times higher because of its transmissibility, I think it's safe to say that a great majority of those numbers are Omicron related. Why are they into the whole COVID numbers on the whole? 2 reasons. Number one, because obviously New York State is calling it COVID. They're not calling it Omicron. Go blame the governor for that. But number 2, there's probably not enough data to really synchronize it into a category yet. This is where I'll say some of the elected officials were very correct. Nobody knew this was coming, but at the same token, what you brought up a minute ago is very important because Mayor de Blasio got rid of 75% of the test cases when he got on TV 6 months ago talking about everything is okay, we're going to be fine. But I don't blame de Blasio because we got that from Joe Biden on July 4th when he said, oh, welcome back to America. Everything is going to be fine. And it's been shitty ever since.
Well, Anthony, what I'm saying is...
He's upset. He's upset.
When the deaths were high...
Yeah, because I want to talk about facts. I don't want to talk about speculation. This guy's telling me about a $5 nurse.
with a $2 needle.
If you take 5.6% of that 38,000 number, then we only have about 1,200 cases of Omicron, if we have that many. And
Bob, I said 6, Bob, again.
No, okay, Anthony.
Look, Bob, I can't question your credentials as a reporter, so don't question my credentials as a math person. Okay,
No, I'm
it's
not.
very
I'm sure you
simple.
could add
It's
2 and
very
2 and get
simple to
5.
figure out, Bob. It's 6.8 times higher, not lower.
Well, wait a minute.
Higher.
Let's ask our county person, Mr. Dion Powell. What does our county leader say, Jamal Bailey, on this? He's been silent. And as a matter of fact, where is our state Senate Health Department commissioner? Where is Gustavo Rivera on all of this? Gustavo Rivera should be out there telling us what's going on. He's the state Senate Health Commissioner. Where is Gustavo Rivera? Hiding in the closet so he doesn't catch COVID? I mean, it's ridiculous. Why aren't we being told the numbers? But now we're being told, Omicron is just like a common cold. It is ridiculous.
I can honestly say State Senator Gustavo Rivera, who represents me, he did post his announcements on Instagram and Twitter of what's going on in legislature and what's coming up. So I think you should follow him on Instagram and Twitter, and you see the same stuff I see.
And what if you don't have Instagram or Twitter?
Well,
okay, man. That's just like, Dion, that's just like Gustavo Rivera had a forum on food stamps or whatever they're called now. What is it called now? And
Snap.
He had it with State Senator Liz Kruger.
Snap.
Snap. Okay, that's right. Yeah, Snap. And he had it with State Senator Liz Kruger. But where did he have it? Not in a district like his where the people need it. He had it with State Senator Liz Kruger in her district. So how many people from his district came? All right. I'm sorry, Gustavo. And Gustavo knows this. I will really give it to him when he does it wrong, but I will compliment him when he does something right. What did he do right? Let's see. Oh, he was head of the Not 62. And if you guys remember Not 62, Gustavo Rivera lost 25 pounds in Not 62.
Leave him alone.
And what did he gain back? About 40 pounds? So Gustavo Rivera is 15 pounds heavier than a year ago.
At least it was 62 pounds.
Enough with this. We're at the halfway point. I'm waiting for a commercial, which I hope doesn't come. But if you want to place a commercial here on Parrot TV, the number is going down through the bottom on how to contact us.
Shout out to my guy, Ronald. I see you making a comment. Start investing in students, not systems. Thanks, Ronald. We love you. Keep posting in the New York State free thing.
Hi, I am Dustin Pickering from Parrot Literary Corner. You know me, your noble and honest host, and I've got exciting news for you. Last anthology, Series 1, The Literary Parrot, did such a great job. We wanted to continue to provide this community service to our viewers and to our contributors to the program. So please get up and get a copy immediately. You know, if you're in this book, you want to get a copy. If you're not in the book, you want to get a copy and see what we're doing. You want to be excited with us. We want you on this program, and we hope to see you sometime soon on The Literary Parrot. You have to get your hands on this copy. It's amazing. It's an absolutely beautiful anthology meant just for you. Our past guests have been invited back to contribute yet again to this Series 2. We do this quarterly anthology. We will be doing this after our 200 episode milestone. As of this last quarter, we reached 200 episodes, and past that, get up and get a copy immediately. This is the only TV show on earth for creative writers, and our guests are amazing. They're also community activists building from the ground up. This program is for everybody out there who is a creative mind. Order several copies if you can and donate to local libraries. Give them to your friends, cousins, fans, supporters, anybody that you think loves poetry. And it's not just poetry in this book. Remember, this is creative minds. We have prose, fiction, short stories, essays, artwork, anything you can think of, artistically creative, photographs. Everything in this book is packed. It is packed. It is just absolutely packed. If you want to get your hands on it now.
That sounds like a very interesting show, Anthony and Dion. I hope you guys watch that. Now, let's get in.
I want Dustin, I have seen it, and it's a great show, and I want Dustin to do all of the future financial focused commercials.
Okay, guys, let's get into what our producer wanted us to, since we have another half hour, to talk about city politics and our new mayor, Eric Adams. Now, if you guys might recall, I had a conversation with Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr., and he was mad that I said he would go no higher than second deputy mayor. Well, he said, you never put me first. And you know what, Ruben Diaz Jr., here is why I said at least second deputy mayor, because you know what? You didn't even make the top 5. All right.
No,
we have Lorraine Grillo.
We're narrowing down the people that made that phone call, because as I recall, you did go in, as we should say in the streets, on Rubencito last week. So now we're getting warm to see who actually made you that phone call.
Why don't you just tell me? Dion, you know, so tell me.
You made a lot of baseless threats and accusations, but keep going.
Fine. Lorraine Grillo is the first deputy mayor. Do either of you know Lorraine Grillo, where she came from?
Bob, I would rather answer the original question I believe you were going to ask, which is really, who is the new mayor for 2022? And sadly, well, I guess gladly and sadly, I guess, that we found out before 2022 that it won't be Eric Adams, and of course, none of these deputy mayors, of which Mayor Diaz, listen to me. Whereas President Diaz,
go to Florida,
cannot be found in any of this, so none of this matters. What matters is that we found out who the real mayor is going to be, and that mayor is going to be the New York City Council, because once they had told Eric Adams that the progressive wing, which is now the majority wing in the New York City Council, is going to override any of his thoughts, i.e. solitary confinement, that just tells you what type of little power Eric Adams really has in the next 4 years.
I don't know. Because
Anthony,
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comedic gaffes when they're going to say Adams versus Adams, because our new city council speaker is an Adams and a black woman. So it's going to be very interesting.
No, well, Dion, now we know why Eric was so much wanting to have Mr. Moya in place, right? Because we've now seen through his past appointments, these people are just puppets. Eric Adams wants to control the whole show. But Mrs. Adams, right, our new council speaker, Mrs. Adams, said, wait a minute, we can be friends. We can share the same last name. But, and it took 35 years, because prior to 35 years, there was no New York City Council. We had a board of estimate where a city council was created, and they were never really fully in charge of the city. The mayor normally sort of led the dictation of the policy, and the city council sort of just followed along, made tweaks along the way. This is now the first time in New York City history, that the city council is fully in charge of city government. Everybody else, just puppets.
Well, Anthony, let me correct you. Instead of 4 years, they're only going to have a 2-year term because of redistricting. They'll be redistricting in 2 years, so they'll be running in new districts, which may not change that much. It may be a block here, a block there, or whatever, but that's what's going to happen.
Why won't it change much? Tell us about redistricting. Why won't it change much?
Why? Because we see now with the state legislature that the second set of lines has come out, and what's going to happen? The state legislature has to approve it. And if they don't, they get to do their own lines. So look at it sensibly, Dion. You're connected to the Bronx Democratic County Organization. What do you think they want? Do they want some outsiders telling them how their district lines are? Or do they want to draw their own district lines? Look at it that way, okay? And as far as the city council, they may have no choice, but I believe they run their own city council lines too. So let's go into who's who in the Eric Adams administration with their deputy mayors. We have Lorraine Grillo, who was the first deputy mayor, which is the position that Ruben Diaz Jr. wanted. Who is Lorraine Grillo? Do you know or don't you know? Dion, who is Lorraine Grillo?
I don't want you to know. I don't want you to know. You tell me.
You don't know. Anthony, do you know Lorraine Grillo?
Yeah, he doesn't know either, so that's why he's laid back.
No, it doesn't matter, but please tell
Let me just put in this point about Lorraine Grillo. I know her back when she was with the School Construction Authority.
My
and they
point
couldn't build
exactly.
schools.
My
Exactly.
point exactly.
What
She's
is
a
that?
40-year puppet. Exactly.
Correct. Okay. I went into PS20 on Webster Avenue, which was when it was a new school, and there was water coming down the wall in the library. Do you know what I was told by the School Construction Authority? My position, by the way, Dion, was president of President's Council of School District 10, where this school was. We were told, oh, we'll just paint over it. Okay. I said, no, that's not good. We want that leak fixed. We don't want to have water coming down in our library like a waterfall.
So
if we wanted a waterfall, we would have asked you to put in a waterfall.
He didn't say here, Mr. President, here's your yellow pages to help you sit up straight in the seat at the board. No, he didn't give me some yellow pages.
I'll sit whichever way I want.
Yellow pages.
Unless you have something else to say. Then we have Mara Joshi as Deputy Mayor of Operations. Anna Williams, Health and Human Services. Maria Torres Springer, Economic and Workforce Development. We remember that name, don't we, Anthony?
All right. If you insist, I'm going to have to help you guys not look so
and
racist.
And Sheena Wright as Strategic and
we also have our first Black female NYPD commissioner. So I'll help you guys not look so racist. I'll say
we already went through that last week, Dion.
Well, let's say it again. You're over skipping that because remember, you're going back to the whole solitary confinement.
As I announced this morning on our Facebook page, over 3,000 people will have jobs, including Councilman Oswald Felix, who's just been appointed to the Adams transition team under public safety. And as I said this morning, his job is to safeguard the Belmont Pizza. So where's this going?
Wait a minute, how
None
many
of these people mean anything. These people are puppets. This isn't an overview of the city government. This is an overview of bureaucracy.
Professor, how many, you're a numbers guy, how many people are now on the transition team? How many? You're a numbers guy. How many people are
I'm going to answer it this way, Dion, because Dion, I'm going to answer it this way, because that number changes every day. So to ask me that question now is very inappropriate. That number is going to change between now and then.
Over 700.
To give you the better estimated answer, and this comes from the Adams camp himself, between 500 to 700 people.
Well, all I can say, Anthony, is that with Eric Adams as mayor and Councilwoman Adams as a speaker, it's going to be fun having the Adams family once again in New York City.
It has begun. The puns have begun. Big puns. Peace.
Well,
so the real question is going to be, is who's going to be the deputy? And I don't mean the deputy mayor. I mean the deputy council speaker.
Well, Anthony, we'll get into that when that's announced. Who do you think is going to be deputy council speaker, Anthony?
This is where I believe the Bronx is going to be very influential. And I'll end it there.
Right. We can wind up with Rafael Salamanca as deputy council speaker.
We could.
All right. Just like Jose Rivera, when he was county leader, made sure that his son was the deputy majority leader. Joel Rivera, when he was in the council for 12 years. And Joel did a fine job, okay? And it was unfortunate that he had to leave because his chief of staff, when he ran, couldn't say what Joel did. And that's very bad that a chief of staff can't say what the elected official did.
Albert's a cool guy. Albert is a cool guy. Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
I didn't mention any names.
Well, I did. Leave him alone. Let's talk about the Common Sense Caucus, okay? We're getting red. You're getting red in the face. Anthony gets red in the face, but not me because I'm so pretty. Hey, it's my guy Ronald again.
I'm laughing.
So, and in November, once again, Hukel, and if Eric Adams doesn't do anything about mandates or these shelters or upzoning, it's going to be very red. It's going to be hot under the collar in November next year. Redistricting, red.
Dion, as our
Dion, I got on red.
We need to invest in students.
I'm seeing red.
We need to invest in our students. Our Bronx performance level was 67% before COVID. That number must be under 50 right now.
But it doesn't matter, Press. Let me tell you why it doesn't matter. It used to be the
Why doesn't it matter, Dion? You want to keep the people stupid?
Used to be the deputy school board county clerk, right? So did you know that parents and teachers are not going to these schools. And the reason why these people want remote learning, when they said no, they're going to go to remote learning. But the thing is, public school systems have no excuses for where all this money's going now, because nobody's coming into the building, and they're very, very scared. Hugo keeps trying and trying and trying. De Blasio keeps trying. Adams keeps trying to force people in these schools with their kids, and it's not safe. So let's talk about safety first. Lead poisoning, asbestos. Those things aren't scary. What's scary is the needle. Pretty soon, Nurse Joy, who's not a $5 nurse, but is a union nurse in the school, is going to have the nice long pull it, rubber glove into your children, sticky. So that's what's going to destroy these people in November of next year. Mark my words.
Dion, you just said lead and asbestos was not important to the children in the schools. And you, unfortunately, are one of the new people who are coming into power in the county organization, as we see, and who don't remember the asbestos crisis of the 1990s or the lead crisis then.
Legionnaires. What
lead does to a child, Dion, it holds back their performance. Maybe that's why the Bronx students aren't performing that well, because of the lead in the schools. Or asbestos, which gets into the breathing system, which then will kill you, Dion. It's mesothelioma.
Free tablets, no Wi-Fi. Free tablets, no built-in Wi-Fi.
You don't know. You didn't live through the asbestos crisis or the lead crisis in the city schools. And you know what, Dion? Nobody has checked the asbestos crisis in
Y2J.
With all of these
Y2J.
Dion. Just spread what the county organization wants. Forget about lead poisoning. Forget about asbestos
Dion's
poisoning.
Not a puppet. He's a Muppet. Dion's not a puppet. He's a Muppet.
Yes, you're a Muppet of the county organization, Dion. Just talk and say what Jamal Bailey wants.
Dion, that wonderful card that I want to congratulate you on. Isn't that the same logo that Bob Press was wearing that T-shirt with?
Yes, it was. Come get yours. Eastwood Manor, Maestros, Marina Del Rey, Villa Barone, all kinds of resorts and catering halls. Trump Links, soon to come to Trump Links. Rubencito, fundraiser, Trump Links, not a shelter, Trump Links.
What is Rubencito? What is he running for, Ruben Diaz Jr.?
Now I'm glad we got to the point. What do you wish? Let's go to our Secret Santa list. I wish, and I hope.
Wait, Dion. Wait. Before you mention that, you said Ruben Diaz Jr. is having a fundraiser. What is he running for?
I'm talking about the old fundraiser, Trump Links. Put the picture with Trump Links.
Oh, so
Whitestone Bridge.
Anthony, do you have that picture of Ruben Diaz Jr. with Donald Trump? That he's so glad Donald Trump opened up the golf course there?
I have several of them.
And would you like to make a comment on Trump Links?
Say that again?
Would you like to make a comment on how glad Ruben Diaz Jr. was to have Trump Links there?
Oh, the whole Bronx delegation was very happy to have Donald Trump invest in the Bronx at that time. And from what I understand, Ruben Diaz Jr. enjoyed a wonderful round of golf with him. As a matter of fact, a couple of rounds of golf with him. That one round was just for the media pictures. I understand they played 2 or 3 rounds.
Fast forward next year, he's a racist. Oh my God, I was playing golf with a racist, everybody. Oh my God, he's a racist. You know what? This golf ball is racist. It's too white. This golf ball is racist. You're a racist. You're a racist. You're a racist.
Well, Dion, you wanted to talk about what people wanted for Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. You sent me the text. So why don't you tell me, Dion, why don't you tell me what Jamal Bailey, Carl Hasty, Ruben Diaz Jr., and everybody else at county wants for Christmas? Tell me, you know.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I suspect that they want to make sure the district lines stay in their favor. Now, what that is, we have to wait and see.
You're forgetting one more thing, Dion.
Remind me.
That you're forgetting that they want to make sure that Bob Press doesn't get elected district leader. Because if Robert Press gets elected district leader in the 80th Assembly District, there's going to be hell. Because I'm going to let the people know what's going on.
Ice cold, everybody. Here comes ice cold, Robert Press.
Well, typical.
What? I said Robert Press.
Dion, you're one of my enemies. The county is one of my enemies because they put up a puppet by the name of Remy Salad. Okay. And they told Natalia Fernandez, this is going to be your male district leader because we don't want Marcos Sierra anymore. Marcos ranted and raved at us for not endorsing him for the 11th Council District. And they really don't want Irene Estrada anymore because Irene Estrada was the only person who abstained from the making it unanimous that Jamal Bailey was the county leader. He got in with not a non-unanimous vote. Okay. I don't remember the last time that happened.
Well, wait a second, Robert. I'm a little confused then about something. So then I got to ask you the obvious question. I know you've announced your candidacy, and best of luck to you. Of course, Northwest Bronx Democrats, as tradition in the 80th Assembly District, will make that final decision. But based upon what you said a moment ago, are you therefore saying that if Irene Estrada, who's already announced her candidacy for Assembly, asked you to run on her ticket, that you wouldn't run?
Oh my God, he's showing his
say that I'm showing my Northwest Bronx socks, which have my name on it and Northwest Bronx. And I want to thank Sheila Sanchez, the president of Northwest Bronx, for putting my name on the socks, on each and every sock.
Sheila Sanchez. Get Sheila Sanchez on the show. I've never seen her before in my life. Who's Sheila Sanchez?
All right, so I would be proud to have the endorsement of Northwest Bronx Democrats in my run, because Northwest Bronx Democrats counts for about 30% of the 80th Assembly District, Anthony. Am I correct?
Close.
And Northwest Bronx really makes a difference. All right,
yeah,
it shows because
Robert, first and foremost, I'm gonna relay your sentiments to Sheila, and I want to thank you for that. But Dion, what did you say a moment ago?
I said close, but no cigar.
Dion, we have not been the majority part of the 80th Assembly District ever. We have been bigger. We have been as high as 45%.
Well, let me ask you a question.
In 3 decades of gerrymandering, we are now 25%. Of course, you wouldn't know that because A, you weren't born yet, and B, you didn't live in the district.
Wait, let me ask you a question, though. Seeing as Press alluded to earlier, and I gave him my idea for the gimmick that we needed for this holiday episode, is what do you wish for the district lines next year representing a former past president founder of Northwest Bronx? What percentage of that district do you want to have? Why don't you just tell us, both of you?
Well, no. Let me answer it another way, because I believe this whole segment was supposed to be about Christmas gifts, right?
Wishes.
So if I had to have my Christmas gift to the 80th Assembly District, and looking at, and not just the 80th, the whole Bronx, right, is that, and I say this in a nonpartisan way, after 3-4 decades of gerrymandering, we have all over the Bronx what I call slithery areas. We've talked about this on a show on different assembly districts, where you can stand on one block, you're in one district, across the street, you're on another district. And because they're slithery areas, that one block can actually turn into 3 or 4 different blocks. So now all of a sudden you got neighborhoods affected because of this. These are, to me, equivalent to, if you remember, the Florida problem many years ago, Chad. If you look at these maps and the slithery areas, basically they look like Chads. They look like something just hanging. And what I would love to see as a Christmas present after 4 decades of gerrymandering is go to that and just chop it off. That's all. Right? If you did that, you would finally have, yes, you'd have new district lines, but you would finally have them in some type of conformity.
I just want to add, Anthony, and these newer legislators in the past 10 years who weren't around for the last redistricting don't know their own district. And I showed it last week with Assemblywoman Fernandez when she thought that Jeffrey Dinowitz, Councilman Salamanca, Councilman Cohn, and Councilman soon to be Eric Dinowitz, were doing a book bag giveaway outside the Marshall Montefiore Community Center, and she thought it was in her district when suddenly this Dinowitz had to say, your district is 1 block that way, 1 block that way, and 1 block over there. So these new legislators who have come in the past few years within the recent last districting don't know their own districts. So that's why I agree with you, Anthony. They have to take away these hanging chads, as you call it, and make it one solid, like a rectangle or whatever, but that's not going to happen. And it looks like we lost Dion. Are you there, Dion, or did we lose you? Well, looks like I got my wish then. No, I didn't wish for him to disappear. But we're almost at the end of the show. We have about 8 minutes left, Anthony. Is there anything you would like to say for Christmas? We'll be on next week, hopefully, for New Year's, if the powers to be don't cut us off. But would you like to say anything for Christmas?
I would like to, I guess, say thank you to the audience. And also thank you to our executive producer.
That's a big compliment.
And to everyone affiliated with Parrot TV. 2 years ago, Parrot TV was not here. 2 years ago, the New York Parrot newspaper was not here. And I would venture to say that in the last couple of years, many people affiliated with these new institutions, I think, have done some really, really, really good things. I would congratulate our executive producer by name, but I always screw up his name, so I'll actually leave that up to you. Of course, the founder, Sheikh Musa, who's a friend of mine, deserves nothing but props, and of course, he's now doing some consultant work for the Eric Adams campaign. But everyone that's been affiliated with both the Parrot, whether it's the TV version, which of course does New York politics, and as you saw, it's a commercial, does literacy, and they'll be branching into other things, including an economic show in 2022. So my wish to the audience is a safe, healthy, of course, first and foremost, and second, if you get the opportunity, feel free to watch Parrot TV. It seems to be a slow but growing and wonderful place to, as you said a few moments ago, Robert, share your independent thoughts. And as we know from the back, speaking with our executive producer, as long as it's done with care and with objectivity, and of course circled around with nothing but fact, it is what you called earlier freedom of speech. I would call it freedom of great solid speech. So again, I wish our audience a healthy 2022. Now as a professor in finance, I also have to say this. Forgive me. When January 1, 2022 comes, remember, guys, it's a brand new year. What does that mean? That means if you are not paying your fair share in taxes, it's very important that you get that corrected as soon as January 1st comes by. Why? Because you know as well as I do that next income tax season, whether you come sit down with me or you go sit down with your tax person, male or female, you know as well as I do, you're going to look at them dead in the face, and you may not say it, but what you're saying in the back of your mind is, I want to be like Donald Trump. I want to make $1 million and not pay no taxes, right? That's exactly what you want. And guess what? Just like Donald Trump's lawyer, there is no magic pill. It's about understanding the law and how it applies to you. There are over 4,000 income tax deductions in the code that you can subsequently put them into 7 related areas in our financial life. We should learn them. We should learn them and apply them as soon as January 1st comes by. Why? Because when December 31st of that year comes, it's the end of that year. So you want to maximize all the availabilities of tips and strategies in the ever-changing tax code, because if anyone hasn't heard, and here comes an economic announcement, Bob, we haven't mentioned yet, the child tax advance credit is now over. It is now over, and I would venture to say it's not coming back. So all of those advanced child payments you got, which, by the way, lowers your tax refund. It doesn't make it higher, right? That's why you got it in advance, right? Well, all that is now gone. So happy holiday.
I just want to thank Anthony. He probably said it best for all three of us. But I want to just say that we only have a few days left of Mayor Bill de Blasio.
He's having a walkout. Look at his walkout. He's having a walkout.
He has announced that our New Year's Eve celebration will be much less than people anticipate, that only about 1/4 of the people, if that much, will be allowed in because it's outdoors and they must stay 6 feet apart. So if you wanted to see that, you can go to my blog at www.100percent.blogspot.com. That's 100%.blogspot.com to see what Mayor de Blasio, because I have had a running daily count of how many days left Mayor de Blasio has, and have put up some interesting pictures along with that of Mayor de Blasio. We only have about 2 or 3 minutes left. So let me just wish you a Merry Christmas, everybody, and watch out for Santa tonight that he doesn't hit your roof. And let me just turn it over to Dion for the rest of the show. Mr. Powell, you can have the rest of the show.
Thank you. We have 2 minutes here for me to go into the 80th AD Assembly District here on the map behind me. As you can clearly see, it goes all the way up here to Riverdale.
Well, that's wrong, Dion.
I asked these guys here before, Weatherman Dion is here today's cold day. I said, what do you wish to be for, Mr. Regulio, Mr. Press? Well, I said, you know what? 80th District lines, come on down to Tremont. Come on down below Tremont, over here where Dion's at. That way I can vote for these two guys as they run for office. So now back to Anthony's point with taxes. I can't wait for the tax credit for the demandated. That's right. Get a mandate, get a vaccine. You too get $300 in your taxes. So that's right. So you better watch out and be cool. This tax time, mark my words. Omnicron, Unicron, Megatron from the planet Cybertron. You too can get a tax break. Just get that break and that needle into your skin. So hopefully we'll have some COVID PCR results because there's no more rapid tests, folks. Eventually, I've got the swab of my nose like rubber hose. How can you jump free home testing kits and throw it out the car in 2 places in New York City? Hey, everybody, here's your testing kit. Go get it like a paper towel and from Donald Trump in Puerto Rico. Back to what I was saying about Ruben Cito. My Christmas wish for Ruben Cito was this. I was praying for this man for the past 2 to 3 years when he exited out of the Bronx to go down to Puerto Rico and just take it over in some capacity. Ruben run for governor, be a delegate to Congress, La Playa party, take over the whole Somos shebang of the hotel, and you be the whole steward of the hotel. When people come to Somos in Puerto Rico, you're there shaking hands, kissing babies, and let's play some blackjack, okay? That's what I want Ruben Cito to do. He was a great man, young guy, went to Lehman College with my friend. He was always like the cast, didn't do his homework, but he was the youngest Latino elected official in New York State history. Go to Puerto Rico, Ruben. Just stay off this sunset, go there and take it over.
Dion, you did not grow up with Ruben Diaz Jr.
Oh, God.
Jose Rivera and John Perez grew up with Ruben Diaz Jr. I can tell you stories that John Perez has told me, but we don't have enough time. John Perez was a terrific person. He is a career Army veteran. He was the highest level of sergeant, advising generals, colonels on battle plans. He was wounded in battle over in Iraq. He was near death. There's nothing else I can say.
Ruben Diaz Jr.'s credit. To Ruben Diaz Jr.'s credit, because this has nothing to do with John Perez. To Ruben Diaz Jr.'s credit, I can honestly say he has roamed the South Bronx streets with myself and, of course, several people of my color of my hair. But you are also right in saying that Ruben, as well as people like myself, were at an age, a teenage age, where we were doing things like playing basketball, playing stickball. Whereas people like Assemblyman Jose Rivera, who was not the assemblyman, of course,
was driving a cab.
The activist was doing wonderful things in the South Bronx.
He was driving a cab, Tony, and John Perez at 16 was the dispatcher for the cab company. That was his father's cab company, and his father was killed, Mr. Perez Sr., trying to unionize the cabs, the livery cabs.
But I'm not talking about the cab company. I'm talking about, Bob, if you knew the history of the South Bronx, you wouldn't even mention that. What you would mention in regards to Jose Rivera was his march on Charlotte Street, the People's Convention, that brought in over 500,000 people. I don't think John Perez dispatched that. Okay, that brought in 500,000 people to Charlotte Avenue, where two presidents, not one, not two, had to show up. They had to. Why? Because community activist Jose Rivera brought over 500,000 people there. I don't think John Perez
was down there for the second president, and I didn't see Jose Rivera. I was down there with Dominic Carter and other news people, and I did not see Jose Rivera. Okay?
You don't have to.
Hi, I am Dustin Pickering from Parrot Literary Corner. You know me, your noble and honest host, and I've got exciting news for you. Last anthology, Series 1, The Literary Parrot, did such a great job. We want to continue to provide this community service to our viewers and to our contributors to the program. So please get up and get a copy immediately. You know, if you're in this book, you want to get a copy. If you're not in the book, you want to get a copy and see what we're doing. You want to be excited with us. We want you on this program, and we hope to see you sometime soon on The Literary Parrot. You have to get your hands on this copy. It's amazing. It's an absolutely beautiful anthology meant just for you. Our past guests have been invited back to contribute yet again to this Series 2. We do this quarterly anthology. We will be doing this after our 200 episode milestone. As of this last quarter, we reached 200 episodes, and past that, get up and get a copy immediately. This is the only TV show on earth for creative writers, and our guests are amazing. They're also community activists building from the ground up. This program is for everybody out there who is a creative mind. Order several copies if you can, and donate to local libraries. Give them to your friends, cousins, fans, supporters, anybody that you think loves poetry. And it's not just poetry in this book. Remember, this is creative mind. So we have prose, fiction, short stories, essays, artwork, anything you can think of, artistically creative, photographs. Everything in this book is packed. It is packed. It is just absolutely packed. If you want to get your hands on it now,
Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV.